the Browns tanking allegations that were kind of clumsily made by Hue Jackson after the Brian Flores lawsuit was filed, and the allegations came to light that Flores believes Stephen Ross offered him $100,000 per loss in 2019. Hue Jackson chimed in. It became something the NFL investigated. And one thing that we're learning is that this was a thing back in 2019 and 2020. Jackson actually filed an arbitration claim with the NFL in the secret rig kangaroo court. And sorry, I'm going to keep calling it that because that's what it is. But Jackson filed a claim because his theory was, I went along with this 4-year plan, and that's an important term to remember, 4-year plan that the Browns had to rebuild, and basically they made me the scapegoat. They made me look like an idiot. They fired me before it came to fruition, et cetera, et cetera. They misled me. And here's the bottom line. This 4-year plan had specific incentives that were driven by factors, such as having more draft picks, having the youngest roster or among the youngest rosters in the league, carrying over cap space, not spending cash early on. And in the first 2 years, there was no factor in this list of incentives based on winning games. 2018, 2019, one of the factors was winning at least 10 games. Nothing about winning the first 2 years. And when you look at all of it and you look at the specific factors, even though it never incentivized losing, Chris, there are factors that if you achieve them, it's not conducive to winning in the years where those factors were relevant. The NFL's position on all of it was this is part of a long-term rebuilding effort. It's not tanking. And I think the NFL, at least the way they handled this, they were looking for a smoking gun of a specific game, a specific situation, a specific time where someone was said, hey, if you go lose, I'll make it worth your while. Instead, what they had here was a broader strategy that incentivized certain things, didn't incentivize other things, and when you look at all of it, you say, they didn't care about winning in 2016 and 2017. They prioritized factors that would help them win later. So it's a broader tanking strategy that they call rebuilding. But as I said last night on PFT, it's tomato, tanking, rebuilding. But the NFL gave them a pass, even though there was a problematic aspect, in my opinion, to the way that the Browns had structured their 4-year rebuilding plan.
Yeah, it's an interesting discussion. To me, it's a lot different than Stephen Ross asking Brian Flores to coach and lose games. Why the game is going on, to lose the game. That is tanking.
I agree.
This is, to me, I don't consider this tanking. I don't. First off, all the knowledge is there for bettors, first off, to know this. Oh, wait, they didn't spend up to the salary cap. They left 15%. Oh, wait, this is their roster. It looks kind of crappy. Oh, wait, it's a bunch of young guys. So you have the information there to where it's not tanking, to me, that way. There's a little difference here. I tend to agree with the NFL's outcome a little bit here. There's no rule that says they have to incentivize winning the first 2 years. Yeah, they weren't putting their best foot forward and trying to win, no doubt about it, but it doesn't mean they were trying to lose either. It doesn't. It just means, like you said, they were kind of setting themselves up for the future. So that's where it's a little bit of a different discussion. And, yeah, there's a lot of teams that are rebuilding and doing it that way. Maybe this is more egregious, and, of course, it's the Browns to where it just seems like it went off the rails here, and they were just always losing. It's just a bad look. But, again, I think this falls under a little bit to me of they have the right to run their business the way they want to run it to set it up for the future at least a little bit.
But where it becomes problematic is if you incentivize not spending money now, if you incentivize carrying cap space over to future years, if you incentivize stockpiling draft picks, if you incentivize having among the youngest rosters in the league, those are the kinds of things where if those incentives are achieved, the end result is a team that's not going to be as competitive as it could be. And the argument is we were strategically trying to make the team more competitive
2 years,
later.
3 years, right.
But and we need to take a break, but this is the one thing where it comes down to the eye of the beholder, and this is why the commissioner is the one who shouldn't be making these decisions. And frankly, what happened was in Hue Jackson's arbitration, it never even got to the merits of his claims because he had signed a release to get his buyout.
Right.
The release that Brian Flores refused to sign and didn't get his buyout in Miami. Jackson signed his release and then filed the arbitration claim later. But the commissioner points out that there was no incentive to get the highest possible draft pick. There was an incentive to get 11 or 10 draft picks. Well, one of the ways you get 11 and 10 draft picks is you start with a high position in each round, which the worst teams get, and you trade down. That's one of the ways you get more draft picks. So I feel like this could have gone either way if the league wanted it to. And if the league wanted to make an argument, because we saw what the league did with the Deflategate evidence, and it reached a conclusion that I don't think the evidence as harvested supported, but it still wanted to reach that conclusion.
And I disagree
I think
with
if
you.
the NFL
Yes.
want, I know. You can disagree with facts and science all you want, but I wonder if the commissioner wanted to get the Browns, I think there would have been enough there to say that the mere existence of this 4-year plan, the factors that were articulated the first 2 years, show that the team, even if it didn't incentivize losing, it definitely didn't incentivize factors that led to winning. So that's the end result. We wrote a letter, or we wrote an item based upon the letter that was sent by the commissioner to the Browns explaining his conclusion. His conclusion was it's rebuilding, not tanking. And we'll see what that means to Stephen Ross
That's where it's slippery.
and the Dolphins.
Yeah.
In the other investigation that the same person, Mary Jo White, is conducting. All right, let's
That's
take
where
a
it's
break.
a
We got more
slippery
PFT
slope.
Live.
That's a slippery slope,
Well,
though, because it's
if
rebuilding.
they can prove it.
You know, rebuilding. You're going to be able to say that about every rebuilding team to a degree, a little bit. You know, we're going to go, well, they held back assets in here and did this for this year. And we're going to go, what, is that tanking? And at some point, it's rebuilding. And okay, go ahead. Forget it.
Go ahead.
And
No,
the science of all the Deflategate stuff is bullcrap released by Who.
all right.
Come on, there
All
you go.
That's all right. That's
yeah,
all right.
I just told
Read
you
about
the
it. Read
temperature
about
of the thing a few weeks ago. You didn't even know.
Read about
Stop
it in Playmakers.
Stop
Read about
it.
it in Playmakers.
Yeah, it ain't right. Sorry, I'll get the chapter.
Well,
It's not right.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.